Every month I come up with this one video where I talk about all the books that I read in the previous month. I have been doing that for more than 5 years now. I have missed a few months, but just a few. And I'm always super excited about this kind of video. And this time, as I finished reading 7 books in August 2021, I am even more excited. If you are equally excited to watch, then keep watching. But if you're new here, hi there, I'm Manpreet, India's leading books YouTuber who helps people discover new books and develop the habit of reading with a lot of book reviews, recommendations, and a lot of videos on this channel. If you're new here, please subscribe. And also, do not forget to subscribe to the free email newsletter that I have started. That is, linked down below in the description. So subscribe right now. And now let's talk about the 7 books that I finished reading last month. Number one book that I finished reading last month is Farther by Chaitanya Desale. Now, this one was actually a find for me. I liked this book so much. Now, this is really a thick book, 400 plus pages. And when I got this book, I was like, maybe I will not like it, but I ended up loving every single line of this book. The story is about Manbir, who is a robotics engineer who wants to develop India's first AI robot, but he also has a family, a loving daughter, and his wife suddenly dies, and he is left all alone to take care of his daughter, who in the story, when the story begins, is a toddler. And that is what the book is about. It's so good. I have done a full review of this book. I mean, if you really want to give a chance to a debut author, and if you want to read a story that will surprise you in a good way, I would say try out this book. So that's what I feel about Farther by Chaitanya Desale. I will link all of the books that I'm mentioning in this video down below in the description in case you want to buy them. Okay, number two book that I finished reading last month is 16th Night by Ashwin P. Chandran. This is actually a short story that brings together 16 conversations on the 16th night of Mahabharata. Now, that was a very important night, and the way the author has, presented this concept and presented and brought together all the characters in 16 conversations, and just, he has done such a good job that I'm amazed that I could love a short story that much. I'm a person who's very prejudiced against short stories. I have never had like great experiences with short stories. I have read a few books, short story collections, and some I have loved, some I have not liked at all. So I am very reserved about reading short stories, but this book definitely impressed me so much. If you're reading something on your Kindle, if you're looking for something short to read on your Kindle, pick up 16th Night by Ashwin P. Chandran. And if you want to buy a Kindle, use my affiliate link. I love my Kindle at least. So I'm sure you will really thank yourself for investing in a device like Kindle. Anyway, the third book that I finished reading last month was actually a poetry, Hindi poetry, Soya Hai To Jaag Ja by Pankaj Kumar Samal. Again, Manpreet doesn't read a lot of poetry because I feel like I cannot understand poetry. I try not to read poetry, but when I came across this book, this is more like motivational poetry. And I looked at it book and I thought I could give it a try, and it was a good enough try. The poetry is really simple, so I would really recommend you to pick it up if you are looking for Hindi poetry, or if you want to gift somebody something that is simple. If it's a regular reader, I don't know what they'll think about it because I'm a beginner in poetry myself. But if you are giving something to a beginner reader, this might be a good pick. So do check it out. It's a very short book, but I really liked it. Number 4 book that I finished reading last month was Dotcom Secrets. Now, if you saw my previous wrap-up videos, I really loved the business and marketing books that I had picked up last month, last to last month. And they just blew my mind, they were so good. And this one again was so recommended, but did not like it that much. This one is more about like funnel building and all that stuff. A lot of marketing jargon here, but if you are into marketing, you might have heard about this book, and you might have even read this book, and you might be crazy about funnel building. And I thought I would be too after reading this book, but that did not happen. I found most of this book boring, and I was like, I read Building Your Story Brand by Donald Miller, and I could feel like the whole book is something that I want to implement right away. But this one was like, when will it finish? And most of the stuff seemed fluff to me rather than, actually something that I could implement. So this was like a so-so book for me. I think I gave it 3 out of 5 stars. Rating really does not matter when I'm doing my wrap-up videos. I just want to talk about the book and what I really feel. There's a whole series, okay? There are 3 books, and I am not sure if I want to read the next 2 books in this series. It was just so, it dragged so much. But it's also something like a lot of people recommend. So I don't know, unpopular opinion. I don't know what I'll decide, but it's okay. If you are keen to know what I'll decide next, just subscribe and wait for the videos. Anyway, the next book that I finished reading last month was actually a thriller that features a serial killer, and that is Raptor Rising. I love this book, because of the cover first. The cover is so amazing, and I haven't talked about the cover in the review video, so I thought I might as well mention it over here. A brilliant cover, and it's a thriller. I have talked a lot about it in the full review video. It's about this female serial killer who creates snuff films. That is, she murders people and she makes movies while murdering them, and there's a lot of adult content in the book that I have tried not to talk about a lot because of YouTube guidelines. But yeah, there is a whole review that I have put up on my channel that you can check it out. All the reviews will be linked down below, and I actually really liked this book. What I did not like was the ending, and the whole book has a very nice cinematic feel to it. The way the book starts, that is just amazing. But there are elements in the book that I felt were a little overdone, which I have mentioned in my review video as well, so you can check it out. But yes, another something that was a good read for me last month. If you find good books to read in a month, you are able to read a lot, but even one book can drag you a lot, can put you behind. For example, this .com secrets that I had read, I am sure if this book was not something I had picked last month, my whole count would have been 10 books in a month. So that happens. Anyway, second last book that I finished reading finally. I think I started reading this book in July. I don't remember, but Salem's Lot by Stephen King. Now, this is, I think, the second book by Stephen King, and this is his first horror that actually became really popular. I reviewed Carrie recently on the channel, and that was his first book and a short book. If you're looking to get into Stephen King world, would recommend you Carrie. Now, Salem's Lot is actually a horror. Carrie is more of a thriller. Okay, and this one features vampires. There's this town, and there's a vampire that is in town, and things start happening, and a lot of things happen the Stephen King way. My husband read this book. He really liked it, but I feel differently about the book. I mean, I liked it. I loved Stephen King enough to actually start the whole project of trying to read all the Stephen King's books, okay? I have read, I think this is my 4th Stephen King book, and if you count the books that I have read half, it would be the 5th, okay? But I don't feel the same way my husband felt about this book. He loved it so much. I, on the other hand, felt like I was going in a slump while I was reading this book. And I have a lot to say, which I will in a separate video. So yeah, wait for that video. But otherwise, if you are a Stephen King fan, you would want to read the book that made him the most famous horror author out there. So you will pick it up. So I have nothing to say to you. Just try it out and see what you think. I kind of like had a tough time reading it. Anyway, the last book was actually a great ending to the whole month, and that was with The Granddaughter Project by Shaheen Chishti. Now, this book actually brings together the stories of 3 women from 3 different times in our history and what they went through. The times that were featured are the Bengal famine of 1943, the Holocaust, and the Notting Hill race riots of 1958. So the Granddaughter Project mainly is about this granddaughter who is given a task by her dying grandmother to find a tree, and then another project awaits her. And in the process, she comes across 3 letters which give you an access to the time in the history of these 3 women and what they went through. Okay, and I really like this book. Obviously, there are a few things that I did not like about the book. I have done a review that I personally am very proud of. So I would definitely recommend you to watch that video. But overall, when you talk about Manpreet, did you feel happy spending your time on this book? I would say a big yes. This book gave me these vibes of reading The Nightingale by Christian Hanna, and that's one of my favorite books out there. So obviously, when I'm saying that this book came very close to being a really cool read, I do have complaints about it, but you are not supposed to agree to everything in a book and supposed to love everything in a book. I love a lot in the book to just recommend it to you, to ask you to try it out, so you make your own decision by watching the review video. But yes, this is the last book I read in August 2021. 7 books while I did all the traveling, tended to all my after marriage chores, took care of the family, and also took care of my business and my job and all of that stuff. 7 books, I think, is actually one of the best number I have been able to score in a long time. So I'm super happy about it. I think you can see that thrill in my voice from the video. Can you or can you not? Give me a yes if you can in the comments, okay? And yeah, I'm really happy, and I really hope watching this review video made you happy, gave you some suggestions. And yes, I am really keen to hear what you read last month, so do comment down below with that as well. And I'll see you in the comments very soon, and this is Manvi signing off. I'll be back with another video very soon.